afternoon, everybody. You're listening to K4CO Radio. We are having a special little introduction here, and we have Matt Axton in our studio. Matt Axton is going to be playing Herman's Hideaway tonight while he is on tour. He's going to be there with Elijah Petty and Part Times and Gabe Mintz and the Sparrows. Good afternoon, Matt. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you doing, Joshua?
Doing very well. Thank you very much for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I wandered around the parking lot for about 3 hours, but you saved me.
No problem. Yeah, it can be hard to find every once in a while. So once you're here the first time, you're good to go. Forever. Exactly. So you've been on tour for a little while. How's the tour going?
Yeah, it's been about, this is the last leg, so we'll be home this weekend for a big cowboy festival. It's been a month out on the road. It's going. We chatted a little bit before we hit the air about the adventures of the road lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
I said even the best laid plans always have flat tires and too many cheeseburgers.
Right.
Which nobody thought that was a thing, but it is.
That's what makes it an adventure, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know the mountain folks love. There's fine food out here in the mountainous West, but in the middle of the country, they don't even have vegetables, is what I've learned. Mm-hmm. In Oklahoma, when I said, you guys have a salad, they looked at me like an alien, and it was quite funny, actually.
It's like, no, we have a lot of meat.
Yeah, they're like, well, we can fry that salad for you. And you're like, all right, fine.
Right. No, the salad is what our food eats. Exactly. Exactly. Well, welcome to Denver. This is actually your first time playing out here. Is that right?
It's our first time playing in Denver proper, so we're very excited.
Awesome. And Herman's is a great place. You're going to have a fun time. So you are from Tahoe, California, correct?
Yep, beautiful Lake Tahoe. So similar elevation and style. The mountains feel very natural and normal for me. I like this a lot.
Nice.
And the cold weather, too. I don't even have sleeves.
Right. And you were born there. You still live there? So your whole life there?
Well, we're based out of Los Angeles now.
Okay.
But I was born and raised up in Tahoe. My dad was an old entertainer extraordinaire by the name of Hoyt Axton. So, Yep, we hear the cheers coming from miles around. And he loved, I think he lived in Crested Butte for some period of time, but he always loved mountainous areas or, natural areas. And he always had a home base sort of in L.A. to do his TV and movies and music. And he had in Nashville to do more of the countryside of stuff, country music side of stuff. And he would always have a third place. I would call it like the happiness triangle, where usually that was up in Oregon or Colorado or, Tahoe, where I was born, where it was like a place to get away and catch your breath and like escape for a moment and center yourself. So luckily I was born in the beautiful mountains of California in Tahoe.
Heck yeah. And so he'd be basically both sides of the country, from Nashville to LA. And then, we were talking about your dad a little bit. And so he was a writer, actor. So you were basically submerged in music while you were growing up, right?
I was 1,000 meters deep in it, Mm-hmm. And luckily, so my grandma was a musician as well, a songwriter and a PR person for a lot of the biggest names that go through country music from the 50s to the 90s, actually. And her whole, I'll go back, I'll brag about this, do the hard brag. My grandmother, being a songsmith that she was, and a PR lady, she was working for Colonel Tom Parker in the early 1950s. And there was this young artist named Elvis Presley who started getting a little traction locally in Jacksonville, Florida, where my dad and grandma were living at the time. Mm-hmm. And she was good friends with the head of RCA doing all this PR work. And she's like, you need to sign Elvis to this contract. He's going to be big. At that time, they signed Elvis with the biggest contract in history of $20,000. And after a couple of months of no hits or no traction, they went out to my grandma. Her name was Mayborn Axton. It's a good read on Wikipedia. And they asked her to write Elvis a song to help him get some, his foot in the door and ears on the radio. And so she wrote Elvis Presley's first million-selling hit called Heartbreak Hotel.
Wow. And
that's how the whole Axton music legacy sort of got rolling. And my dad said how much fun that was being a songwriter, an artistic type, and made his way out to San Francisco in the early 60s at the folk coffee house scene, and then L.A. in the late 60s, and wrote himself a #1 hit as well called Joy to the World / Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And to this day, they're still the only parent and child in the history of the world to independently write #1 hits. And I'm very proud of that. Obviously, that's why I bring it up so early in the interview. But, that's where the legacy started, and that's how it got sort of solidified. And now I'm trying to, bring another generation of Axton music into into people's ears, I guess, is what we're trying to do.
That is awesome. Yeah, I remember growing up, I probably heard Joy to the World 1,000 times in my dad's house, and Three Dog Night was, really big in there.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, your grandmother apparently also helped a lot of people like Willie Nelson, Reba McEntire, and
well, basically anybody who went through Nashville from, like I said, the late 50s to the early 90s went through her. Mm-hmm. That was her job. Is like she was not a gatekeeper, but she was the connector. They'd go to her house and they'd give her the rough version of their song and be like, where should I go? Who should I connect with? She'd be like, let me listen. All right, I'm going to give you this call. You're going to stay here. You're going to connect with this. And like I said, Reba, Garth, Dolly, Willie, like anybody, pretty much everybody went through her at one point, which is one really fun thing about touring for me and being in this digital age too, where some people, almost every day, somebody sends me a story, of them running into my grandma or my dad and like the personal connection that they had and the little inspiration, or at least the kind exchange that they had that stuck with them for years. And, that's always a beautiful thing to know that my grandma and dad were out there sowing the seeds of community and original music way before I was even a thought in their heads. So I'm trying to keep that alive just a little bit.
Heck yeah. I absolutely love it. You definitely need to. So growing up, I mean, you were surrounded by music. Who were kind of your inspirations, your artists when it came to the music you listened to? Or was it pretty parallel with your dad and your family? Or did you branch out a little bit?
It's funny. It's funny because when we're on these tours, every band member puts their favorite bands on and does that. And we go on these big album tour, we'll listen to a whole album or dig really deep. And must say, obviously, I'm biased, but I'm the biggest Hoyt Axton aficionado out there because my dad passed when I was 16. So I never got to do this adult music exchange with him. Mm-hmm. Although he'd always bring the kids on stage. Whoever was on tour with them, he'd bring them on stage and do Joy of the World together, like a big family thing.
Right.
But so I was always surrounded by his music, so I know it very well. It's a second nature. But let's say the stuff that I started listening to, like the CDs, or that were in my car the longest, would probably, this is very California of me, but it was like Sublime, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Pink Floyd, Zeppelin, that kind of stuff. A little more leaning on that rock, like the classic rock stuff with a little California mixed in there. And then always Hoyt Axton. And one cool thing is, like I said, my dad passed when I was young. So what I did to teach myself how to sing is I would put my dad's albums in the car, and I'd drive around and I'd sing them with him. I'd try to copy him and like battle him vocally. So he ended up teaching me how to sing without him even knowing he did it.
Right.
So now I say I'm the world's greatest Hoyt Axton impersonator, if that's worth anything in this world.
Oh yeah, definitely. No, I did that a lot of time. I mean, that's the best place to sing, really, is in the car.
No, right.
Best place. I don't do the shower. That doesn't make sense to me.
Sometimes they have good acoustic in it.
Sometimes, exactly. Every once in a while.
But I love I think my dad and grandma had this mentality, like all music has value. We were talking about this earlier, that I think there's space for every genre, and I just wish the industry sort of valued all that stuff, originality a little bit more. But I think everything you can either tap your foot to it, or give you a little tickle in the ear and make you think a different thought. I mean, everything has value.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Definitely. So when did you start writing songs and playing? What was your first instrument?
So my first instrument, like I said, naturally growing up around a bunch of touring musicians, I wrote my first song at a very young age, probably like 5 or 6.
Oh.
But then nothing happened with it. I wasn't famous then. It was a very simple, like, one note song on a piano. I was like, check this out, this is so cool. And and like for me, because music was always around, it was not something I pursued as heavily as maybe people, because it was always just there.
Right.
It was it. It wasn't like, do you like music or don't? I was like, no, music is just life.
It's just part of my life.
Yeah. So always being around it, I naturally picked that stuff up. The first instrument I ever played, played trombone in school for a long time.
Nice.
Which is a cheater instrument because you can just find the note like a guitar, just keep going up and down until you find it. But the first thing I did was I picked up a guitar that was at my house that my mom had brought back. My dad was filming a movie called Black Stallion back in the early 80s. And it was a classical guitar, and I remember just picking it up. I was like, oh, this is like pretty natural. It's pretty easy, and started writing some light songs, and then put the guitar down for a few years and went to go play football. That was what I was supposed to do. I went out to University of Oklahoma, and did the recruiting trip, and I was going to be somebody, Joshua. But I decided to try and save my knees, and I stayed back in California and pursued a girlfriend at the time. But ironically, I destroyed my knees playing basketball soon after that, and that's when I actually picked up the guitar full time. So I was on bed rest for a few months. So I was like, let me pick this guitar back up and see what I can do, and that was it. It's been 15 years now, nonstop, and have over almost 350 songs, and 4 of them are good. I can guarantee that.
Just kind of teach yourself to guitar?
Yeah, it was my mom. Like, she taught me one song, Malagueña, this the Spanish finger picking song, and then I just sort of went crazy after that. And luckily I had some of my dad's songbooks, so I'd pick his songs, and then the first song I ever learned to play was "I Wish You Were Here," Pink Floyd,
Pink Floyd, yeah,
all that stuff. So it was just always challenging myself and finding stuff that I liked and really trying to build a little sound. But I didn't have any formal education on it. And if you guys come to the show tonight, you'll see that I don't have any formal education. But my guitar player has a lot, and he's an absolute, he's a beast. But it's been really fun because we're sort of bringing back this double guitar. We call it Guitarmonies, like this Allman Brothers vibe a little bit, which has been getting great responses. Like people are like, we haven't heard that in so long. It's just good to hear. There's that aspect where it mixes a little jam element to it, but also very tight structure. It's been really fun for us as musicians to try and bring that out every night.
And you mentioned finger picking, so you do a lot of finger picking, right?
Yeah, pretty much exclusively now. Even on electric guitars, even on the solos. I used to switch back and forth, but to tell you the truth, I got lazy and I didn't want to put guitar picks around. So I was like, I'll just use my fingers.
Right. No, that's awesome because, I've always done the chords and the picks and everything. And then eventually I went to finger picking, but you just kind of just started out that way, especially with a classical guitar. I mean, that's what it's for.
That was easy. And I have these big like ham hocks for hands. So classical guitars have bigger necks, so a little easier to move around. And so that was a natural first thing. And I mean, I still use picks every once in a while. There's certain tones on guitar that you just can't get without using picks.
Right.
And that's what's I was sort of getting at is fun with the contrast between me and my guitar player, Taylor Kropp, is he's, like I said, classic Allman Brothers ripping guy and using picks and knows all the tones, and I'm just more like twangy finger picking it, so there's a cool battle that's always going on there, which if anything adds at least a unique tone to what we're doing. Doesn't always work. I mean, yes, it works every time. I'm just kidding.
If it sounds good, it's right.
Exactly.
Exactly. So we're going to start, we're going to play one of your songs. It's actually Bad Moon, and you're on the Bad Moon tour.
Yes.
So this is your latest.
Yep. So this one just came out 2 Fridays ago. It just got released. So
awesome. And I want to kind of quote you in an article here, at least what it said in the article: follows a gang of outlaws as they chase the loot with the law hot on their heels, culminating in a high noon guitar showdown and an escape in the sunset under the light of a bad moon. That is interesting.
Whoever wrote that is a genius. But yes, that is that. Like I said, I wanted to, like I said, my dad and grandma always believed that sort of your job is to service the song. Whatever it is, whatever style it needs to be, you just do it, right? And do it the best that you can. So I wanted to write sort of an old-fashioned, train robin gunfighter tune, and this is what we came up with. And I wrote this song a while ago, but it has now morphed into this more, like I said, true guitar battle, fun driving country tune. So
that is awesome. All right, we're going to play that right now. Here's Matt Axton with the song Bad Moon on K4CO. We'll be right back. Station mascot. You squeeze his palm and he talks him every morning and just see what he has to say.
How many different things does he have?
I think 20 different things.
It's funny when I go to ask me about bands I like Jimmy Henry. Like, exactly what you like.
Right? All the founders here are pretty much, founders. Yeah. Are you a Beatles guy or a Stones guy?
It's funny. So I basically on this tour short time. We went together like 8 years or something.
Oh yeah, it was really short.
I always have this back. This song back. Taylor Swift. She's been at the top of the charts for 20 years.
Yep.
There's not a huge artistic.
No, not at all.
And still, I mean, you can't go wrong with Beatles, but I think Beatles are still a big deal.
Well, especially at the time, just their
And they are the highest selling of all time. They have all those numbers. There's a little Ringo connection. Number one hit was one of my dad's songs called The Warners.
Okay.
Nothing's off limits.
I like it. Yeah, again, we just try to, it's like we're having a conversation in a bar or something.
Are they doing live streaming stuff or just
No, so we are filming it, so we're going to upload it to our YouTube page. It takes a few days. I'll also, I can email it to you. I can email you just the video file itself so you can chop it up and use it however you want. That's another thing that we do is like with these interviews, it's not just our property. We want you to use it however you want to. Yep.
is this a public radio?
We just started it, so we wanted to be FM, but they're not giving away any more licensing at all. In fact, the FCC is selling a lot of their frequencies to like Verizon, AT&T, stuff like that, tech companies. And so we're just like, all right, we're going streaming. Everything's going streaming. So our apps came out late September. We already have a little over 3,000 listening a month, and we're still growing. And we do everything from the 1940s through today. And a lot of Colorado, that's our big thing, is creating the community again around radio, as well as small businesses. Only the elite can afford radio these days.
Only they can afford everything.
Exactly. Bad Moon by Matt Axton. Again, playing tonight at Herman's Hideaway, and this is the first time playing in Denver, so welcome. Definitely welcome to Denver. So we talked a little bit about when you're writing, but one, do you write lyrics first, or you write music first, or is it a combo? And then two, what is kind of your process in writing? I mean, is a lot of it stories that you've experienced, or like this, where it's just kind of like, I'm writing kind of a fictional movie type thing? Yeah.
I mean, it's a good mix. I have the Axton Curse, which is just way too many songs. And like luckily my dad was able to pawn them off on other people and they became good hits. I'm trying to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But my dad had this philosophy that songwriters were like the satellite dish, and the words and stuff, the music's out there in the cosmos, and we can just pick it up. We can tune into that. I believe that to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. Artists in general, I think, can connect on a little different wavelength, maybe sometimes have a different way to see things or dissect things, which, is great, because that's our job, is to sort of like condense it and give it in a form for everyone else to sort of enjoy and do what they need to with it. Right. But as far as the process between lyrics, music, that mixes up completely all the time too. So sometimes, we'll do a little riff and be like, oh, that's a cool little funky riff. And be like, oh, that's really funky. Like, let's make some words around that, mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't even be deep. We can just do one line. We go James Brown, just say like, oh yeah, one time, whole time, and just rock out. Right. Or we'll have a good little story or like a life experience. Absolutely pull from that a lot of. That's why there's a lot of love songs in the world, because that's a very deep emotional well to be drawing from.
Everyone is pretty much of experience
that at some point. So that's very easy. And like Bad Moon was one that really like I said, I had a little focus to want to write a song like that, and then just came up with the guitar part, and then the words sort of flowed. So it was a back and forth and built itself. And like I said, that one has grown over the years of me just doing a little acoustic thing to having the double guitars and full band and harmonies. And, you know, as songs usually do, they need to ebb and flow and change. I mean, not always, but they do. And sometimes I'll have like lyrics from an old song that have just been sitting there maybe, you know, for 10 years. And all of a sudden I was like, that one actually fit better than this one. Just pull it and like, you know, cut and paste and take it to this one. I've done that quite a bit. So
that's why you never delete or throw any of that away. You always keep it.
Exactly.
And do you usually just write by yourself, or do you ever collaborate with other people when you're writing?
I do sometimes. Usually I have just so much material, to be honest. Right now, backlog of material. It's been, now is the strategy just to get that out on some high quality level. But I am always open to collaborating and songwriting. I think being in a band is one of the most magical things when everything's clicking,
right.
You know, and you're speaking the same language without saying a word type thing. That's about as close to magic as I've experienced in my life, truthfully, is when everything's going right on stage. When you have the band, the song, and the crowd are all hitting on together is pretty amazing. Nashville, I've been doing a lot more Nashville trips for that because that's a big industry out there for songwriting and you know, licensing and publishing, all that kind of stuff. Because as we talked about, the world is very different in the way that the markets work around the industry, like where the money used to be funneled down to artists to grow, and now it's like it feels like it's all just funneled up to a very small group of people, which is not very conducive to the growth of art. But that's a whole other podcast. That's a whole other experience up there.
Exactly.
But yeah, I love collaborating. I love. I've been trying to get a lot more into doing duets. You know, my dad did a lot. Luckily, he was part of that Laurel Canyon scene in the 70s and 60s, and there was tons of great female artists. So he did a lot of duets with like Linda Ronstadt and Tanya Tucker and some of the the country artists of that time. So I think that having that range is very important, right? It's good to rock out and have fun, but it's also nice to play a pretty song every once in a while too.
Exactly. No, I couldn't agree more. And talking about that, you also host a music series out in LA, correct? And it's called Americana Joy?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I've only been in LA for a few years. I moved there right when the whole world shut down. Great timing, me.
So you left Tahoe right at COVID to move to LA.
Literally, right? Like I came down there, it took like a month to settle in, and then I went and played one gig on a Tuesday, and the next day the whole world shut down. So I literally got to plant my little flag. I was like, yay, and then like nothing, right? But I did for everybody, right? It was a big experience. And luckily, I mean, I went down there to meet other musicians that wanted to grind and wanted music to be their life and lifestyle, and really push especially original music and create a community around it. That's really important for me, and that's what Americana Joy has become. Luckily, we've found a couple venues that fit stylistically, and there's a deep talent pool in LA. There's so many artists, so many great talented artists, but they just don't get a lot of spotlights because it's a very predatory industry in LA.
It's kind of family. Yeah, I kind of see what you're
these
saying.
very small circles, and they just feed each other. And then a lot of the venues they have a lot of pay to play spots, which if anybody doesn't know what that is, it is absolutely like the worst thing for the music industry in my life, where you basically pay the venue to get on their stage for a small moment just to have their like venue name on your on your schedule for a second.
Wow.
Even though there's no value past that. It's very. So I tell every artist that comes to LA, like, avoid that like the plague. There's many scenes down there. Just you got to find it and seek it out, and they'll take you in. So this Americana Joy series is that. It's monthly. It's a free series. We're able to get a sponsor on it so we can pay the bands. We try to pay them really well, which is something that is unheard of in LA as well. And try to keep it original and get multiple bands and try to do 2 locals and 1 touring act so we can get that old-fashioned sharing of fan bases and like exposure, like we talked about earlier off air, just that old-fashioned networking that seems to be lost.
The music community.
Yeah, exactly. So you can come back here again and know that there's some value and like grow your fans and do that, like I said, just snowball effect, ideally. And showcase, like I said, original music is very important. Not that you have to, every song doesn't have to be original, but we want to showcase people that are trying to push that. And Americana, that genre, it can be very divisive in the fact that some people think it's just too broad, which it is. It is now absorbed, like rock and roll is now considered Americana. It's been absorbed into it. country music that's not pop country is now Americana. Even bluegrass sneaks in there, like everything, blues, anything that's roots has gone in there, which I have turned the other way. I think it's a great thing because it can be super inclusive, right? Also, on one act, we'll have like a blues band and then a country band and then, a funk band on the same night. And they'll all share some fans and grow that way. And like I said, we get them money, take care of them. We do a bunch of promo around it. And it's starting to grow in such a way that we're now going to be a part of this Americana West Music Fest in June. We're having like a dedicated section that they're giving to us. And then this is snowballing into a big festival I do up in Tahoe every year. That's a nonprofit music benefit festival, which is a crazy thing. Nobody should do that either unless you have a bunch of money, which is inherently not how benefit festivals work. But it's one of those things where I was like, let's figure out a way to get money back into the artistic community, because I know the people want it. They're just sort of disconnected on how to do that nowadays. Like I said, 'cause the industry's not really doing it. So this is all snowballed into, like I said, a bunch of little community-making ventures that ideally create good sounds that we can send into the cosmos and maybe make people happy or make them think a little bit or just, do whatever they need to do to enjoy the music.
Is this Americana Joy strictly like audio? How is it kind of set up? Is there video attached to it? I mean, what is kind of the format behind it?
Yeah, I mean, so this is just audio. We take over this venue. We get 3 bands and go through there. So it's mainly more for that live show thing. But I do have an offshoot video series called Americana Land, which is like,
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
Which is that's that old fashioned, let's put some people in a room with some live instruments and mics and see the magic. Let's try and capture that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's been really fun. So there's a couple station or social media platforms that do that. One called Western AF and Gems on VHS. There's a few of them out there. Those ones focus very much on like the country, more like Americana side of things. So we wanted to do one that was a little more West Coast based. Not that the artists all have to be West Coast, but there wasn't much showcasing that. So this is sort of our idea of that. And they tie into each other a little bit, but not completely. So Americana Joy is full live. Just come, get absorbed into the music, have a bunch of fun. Let's relax, inclusive for everyone. Americana Land is a little more focused and like, let's show off your songs and your live ability right now with just a guitar. No amps, nothing. Just show us what you can do.
That's awesome. How can people see these or listen to them if they want to?
Yeah. So Americana Land, it's brand new. It's only been out for a few weeks.
Okay.
So we only have 2 artists so far, but we have a backlog of about 30 artists that we're going to be releasing every couple of weeks. But that's on all the social media platforms, mainly going to YouTube for that. And then Americana Land or Americana Joy, is on all the social media platforms. It's on on everything at Americana Joy. So that one has a good traction going to it. And there's an offshoot series called Honky Tonk and Vine that's more country centered, and it's the same sort of thing. It's just like I said, creating that community and creating a couple people that lead these things and give people some chances to show their art off.
That is awesome. No, I really love what you're doing right there. I was looking, so on tour right now, you have 3 other people joining you, right? But at any given point, I mean, you play with 7 other people, right? So tell us a little bit about that, because you even have a couple bands that you play with. So
I've always had multiple bands growing up, just as to keep creative in different ways. Like in Tahoe, there's not a huge original music industry in Tahoe, being a small tourist mountain town. So I would cut my teeth doing a lot of either late night bar gigs or fine dining gigs where you're just in the background and no one's listening, or like, weddings and events and stuff like that, right? Where you really have to focus on doing what the, the people want on that thing, make sure people are dancing, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So always mixing it around. Luckily, my mom is a world-class musician and piano player, was my dad's piano player in the band growing up. So that's where earlier we were talking about like getting absorbed into the music. Like I really couldn't escape it, right? It was the whole family went on the bus when we were doing this. So I get to play in a band with her still when I go to Tahoe. And we're going to do a couple festivals this summer and do, that kind of stuff, which is just amazing. But in LA right now, we have Matt Axton and Bad Moon is the main sort of roots country rock band, Americana band that we have. And that can go from anywhere from a 4-piece up to a 10-piece. We'll add, like I said, steel and background singers and fiddles and, horns and stuff if we need to, all depending on places' budgets. Simple as that. And then I have a bluegrass offshoot band that we do like some bluegrass festivals and do like the lighter events, more acoustic stuff called the Bad Moon Boys. Very similar, but a little more bluegrass, and that can go up to 6 people. Like I said, we really take pride in catering the show to the venue and the event and the people, and it's a lot more work, but in the end, in the long run, I think it's going to be a lot more fun and a lot more rewarding.
It makes it a little bit more personable. And kind of tailoring it.
Yeah, and just in the end, just want to make as good a music as we can. I think that'll win out. Hitting the right note as many times as you can in a row helps, but getting good people that happen to be good musicians around you to make the vision come to life is number one.
Well, speaking about that, we got another song that we're going to play here. Blue Sky Rain. Tell us a little bit about Blue Sky Rain.
Yep, so this is the song that I had loaded in my quiver when I went to Los Angeles. And so when everything shut down, I was like, well, I got to stay creative. Let me jump into the LA scene for a little bit. So I did my first official music video off of this song, Blue Sky Rain. I recorded it up in Tahoe, actually in Reno, in a studio up there, right before I moved to LA. And then we did the video and then sort of did a little remix on it. And that was our first single we toured around a year ago, basically. And so it's a pretty little country love song with a very scary bridge in the middle. Beware the bridge, everybody.
Beware. Here is Blue Sky Rain by Matt Axton on K4CO. We will be right back.
There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain, and I could not see it coming. Well, it was Tuesday when she said, I can't love you anymore. One chance is all I need. Come on, one more, baby, please. I will never forget you, no matter what I go through. Because at one time, you were the stars in my sky. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain, and I could not see it coming. Was a picture perfect romance. It was a quick version of the slow dance. Unique the colors, but the picture unclear. I know where I should be, and baby, it's not here. 'Cause there's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain, and I could not see it coming. And I said, carry me down slow, where nobody will ever know. Tell me what you meant when you said, I will never let you go, never let you go. I never let you go. I never let you go. I never let you go. Well, I have yet to meet a woman who does not play with the strings of my heart. I wish it was not so easy to pull to pieces and fall apart. But there's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. Well, there's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain. There's a blue sky rain rolling over the plain, and I could not see, no, I could not see it coming.
Matt Axton with Blue Sky Rain. We are sitting down here with Matt Axton today, and he's going to be playing Herman's Hideaway tonight. And first time in Denver, so should have a really good show. And again, welcome to Denver. And thanks for coming in to K4CO. Really appreciate it. So we talked about this as one of your last stops on the tour, and you're going to Utah next.
Yeah, we got
and then
Salt
it's
Lake
back.
City on Thursday, yes, which will be that's a new market for us as well.
Okay.
On this tour, we decided to be extra crazy and added 7 new markets, which I wouldn't suggest anybody doing that, but it was fun. This time we got to go through New Mexico for the first time, which was beautiful, great venues, beautiful state as well. Got to go through New Orleans, go down to Muscle Shoals, go to Cleveland. Muscle Shoals stood out. We played it at a fried chicken shack. Mm-hmm. It was amazing, actually.
Did you visit the studio?
We just went and took pictures at it, did that quintessential thing. But that's another one of those unique sort of like diamond musical towns where it's like there's not much going on, and this one town just knows where their bread is buttered, and just music everywhere. It's a very, very small population. It's always great to find that. That's one of the best parts about touring, when you find those spots. You're like, well, we will be coming back through here every single time. And Cleveland was actually really fun too. Well, we've done Detroit the last two times, and like I said, that old fashioned, just keep retreading the same spots, make friends, find the right venues, share with the right bands, and every once in a while maybe change the world every once in a while.
Everyone, just one little step at a
just
time.
one.
Exactly. And then right after Salt Lake City, you're going back and you're doing the Cowboy Festival in Clarita, California.
Yeah.
And you've done this quite a few times.
No, this is actually, last year I just did a guest spot with a buddy's band called Water Tower, who's like an alt bluegrass band.
Okay.
Brought me up for a tune, and then I met the the people who are putting the festival on. They're like, please come back next year. I was like, of course, we'll do it with bells and whistles on. So we get to headline both days, Saturday and Sunday, the 20th and 21st in Santa Clarita down there. And that's a great event because it's a free event. It's like a city-sponsored thing, and they just have vendors and multiple stages. And, that's always fun for us as independent bands to go in and not have to do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to show up and just do our job. Which
You just show up and play.
Yeah, they're like, bring some good music, please. Got it. We got it. But and then the official very end of ours, we hop out to Phoenix that next weekend and do a big old motorcycle rally, which is going to be fun.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Yes, upfront motor show. So like I said, we'll go from listening rooms in Oklahoma City to Herman's Hideaway to Cowboy Festival into motorcycle rallies, all in a few weeks.
And then in May, you're going back to New Orleans.
In
that
May?
right?
I don't know.
At least on your website, it shows it. The Den at Howlin' Wolf?
Oh, no, that was on this one. That's what we did on this one. Don't listen to my website.
Okay.
Okay. The internet lies sometimes, kids.
It does every once in a while,
But
right?
that's what we played on this last tour.
Okay. Gotcha.
But
gotcha.
We're constantly, after this, there's no rest for the wicked on this. So we basically do long weekend runs every weekend throughout the summer. And then we go every 6 months, we go do the national tour. Mm-hmm. So next September, we always make Nashville our goal city. And then we sort of zigzag and build around that. And already we have Americana Fest, is this amazing industry/music festival that happens in Nashville every year in September. And so we're going to go. We already have it booked out all 5 days, and we do an Americana Joy Showcase out there as well. We're going to do some Nashville acts with some touring acts and LA acts. So that's our next big adventure, but we're always doing all these mini adventures, and we're really trying to get into the great state of Colorado more because I love it out here, to be honest.
We got a great state. A lot of good music here too.
Yeah,
definitely.
So if you guys have any suggestions or advice, we will do the heavy lifting, but we'd love to come back and play out here as much as we can.
Oh, definitely. Heck yeah. And when you're back here, you get to see the studio again.
Of course.
You got to be back in. Yeah. Do you write while you're on the road? Or, some people do, some people don't. And then also, when do you find time for recording when you're busy doing all this?
Yes. So the way we're touring, I don't have that much time to write. Mm-hmm. That being said, every time I have a notepad in my phone here that anytime somebody says a good line or a word or just an idea, I throw it in that notepad and I'll use that later. Mm-hmm. Right. And usually it is just sort of a word that'll just land. I was like, oh, that's a perfect fit. Let's go.
Sometimes there's a word or a phrase or something. That sounds good. That'd be good in a song.
You're like, yep, that's a song right there. Thank you very much.
Right.
And then as far as the recording thing, I mean, it's been really tough. That's one thing. The next phase that we're trying to hit is having more time for that, the actual art. Because right now, as an independent artist, you are everything. It's a double-edged sword, right? Just like social media. You have exposure across the entire world. Somebody in the far flungs of Sweden now can hear my music, which that would have never been available, right? In the traditional model. But they can also hear everybody else's music, so they have to wade through a lot more music to find the good stuff. And actually finding time to sit and record and take a breath is almost impossible, because we are the graphics department, we are the promotion department, we are the booking department, we are all of those things rolled into one. So we control our branding, which is really great, but we also, like I said, have to control everything,
right?
Which is pretty rough. So luckily I just got signed up to a booking company called Black Oak. They do mainly sort of folk artists and solo, but we're their first full band, and they want to take us on and help us book these tours. And that's the goal, is to have somebody take some of that weight off your shoulders so I can focus on the art stuff more. And that being said, we're still always playing, always writing, always got songs popping in and out. Like I said, it's whether or not get them down as a good enough form to remember them. I've lost probably more songs out of my brain than some people have written, which is not a good thing. They're still out there, so I'll catch them again, but
they'll come back.
Yeah, they'll come back. But that's the goal, is to get a little more, get some people on our team so we can have more time to focus on the art. That's the dream.
Right, exactly.
And so my dad was really lucky in that way, that he had my grandma, who was, a promotion master and PR person. She took a lot of the branding and the business side and allowed my dad just to be the character that he was, and that, obviously was a great thing for him. And that, if I can just get a fraction of his joy and fun that he had, I'd have a good life.
There you go. Well, it's funny how you say that, because this next song really talks about joy in life. It's positive lyrics. When I heard it, living the good life is said in a lot, and saying that these are the golden times. So when you wrote this next song, Golden Times, what were you doing? What were you thinking about? Because it is very positive outlook on life. So.
Yeah. Well, obviously during COVID times, I felt like that was needed more than ever, right? I mean, it was so easy to get stuck in these ruts, and everything social went out the window, and everyone was just stuck, right, with their own thoughts.
Oh yeah.
And everything got dark, and I would go to these open mics down in LA, and literally there'd be like 40 people doing open mics, and 39 of them were all like, I hate my life songs.
Right.
So I had to consider, I was like, you know what? I was like, as bad as stuff is, this is still the best time in history to be alive. There's still so many great people. There's so many people trying to help the world and help other people doing good things. Like, if we can focus on that, give somebody just a little bit of light, and realize that we're all much more similar than we are different, no matter who you are, where you are. If we can hang on that, or also just sometimes go sit in the meadow with the sun shining on your face and smile. Right. Decompress. It's okay. Life doesn't have to always be that deep. Exactly. So that was this song. And my dad wrote the song Joy to the World, right? / Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to do sort of my version of that in a way. I was like, this is just unambiguously happy song. And hopefully somebody can just tap their foot to it and sort of skip down the road and get a smile on it. And that's my job. And so it was sort of an ode to my dad's Joy to the World, but in our own little twisted version.
Well, I absolutely love it. Here's Matt Axton with Golden Times. We will be
good sign. Keep you smiling all your day. Only living the good life. No troubles in your way. Sun, keep on shining on everything that you hold dear. The darkness doesn't matter, because the sun is always near. Open your eyes, open your mind. These are golden times. Hold the light, let it shine. These are golden times. Yeah. Friends sharing laughter, keep you grinning all your time. Let loose, nothing matters. Living free and feeling fine. I will stay here forever, always standing by your side. It can't get much better, feeling good and living right. Open your eyes, open your mind. These are golden times. Hold the light, let it shine. These are golden times. Yeah, 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 yeah. Born under a good sign, keep you smiling all your day. Only living the good life, no troubles in your way. Drink deep from the water, fill it up and never stop. In the end, all that matters is that your trail is true. Open your eyes, open your mind. These are golden times. Hold the light, let it shine. These are golden times. Open your eyes, open your mind. These are golden times. Hold the light, let it shine. These are golden times. Open your eyes, open your mind. These are golden times. Hold the light, let it shine. These are golden times.
Golden times. I love that song. And I got to say, I love in the end when it just stops, there's clapping, and you got that female singer backing you up. Great song.
Yeah, the gospel ending.
The gospel ending.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that band on there is a band that has actually toured. They're called Dead Winter Carpenters, and they're sort of an old bluegrassy band that has sort of turned into more, alt country. And they're great. I know they've toured around Colorado quite a bit back in the day. But so there were some buddies from Tahoe, and I was like, let's get in the studio together. Let's make some magic. Help me out. And that was it. So
That's awesome. When did you record that?
that was, I think, a year and a half ago.
Okay.
About that one was.
Right after all the COVID. And,
right at the very when it started to open up again. Mm-hmm. And sadly, I'll say it. That wasn't a super spreader event, but one person had it at that recording session and got everybody. Not me, but it was just one of those things. You're like, oh yeah, that's why we should still all wear our masks.
Right. Yeah. Get that really, really, really bad flu right
Yes,
there.
exactly.
Yeah. Your music, when it comes out, you are on, where's the best place where people can get your music?
So we're playing the game best we can. We're on all the streaming platforms and all that. My website too, mattaxton.com, has all this different information, has some really cool legacy stories, and I have pages dedicated to my grandma and dad and mom and stuff. So trying to collect assets on that and keep growing that library, which is really fun. And then on all the social media platforms, we got Matt Axton Music on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everything we can get our hands on. That's just sort of the way of the world now. But and I'm one of those weird people that I like answer all my messages and I like follow everybody back. Like, everyone's, don't follow everyone. I was like, well, they followed me. Like,
yeah,
we're all just people. Like, come on. But so yeah, if you actually message me, you get to talk to me if you want to. But I mean,
so you handle a lot of your social media type stuff personally, then?
Yeah, I mean, at least like the meat of it. If it's a message to me, I want to connect with those people. Like I said, it means a lot. They took their time out of their life to think about me. Right. That's the least I can do is just say thank you and listen to them. And I get a lot of great stories about my dad and grandma, and people always reaching out. So it's fun for me. It is driving me slightly crazy, but it is fun.
I bet, yeah. And then you were telling me a little off air, a nice little story where Elton John just recently got an award and kind of gave a shout out.
Yeah. So obviously my dad had a lot more commercial success as far as he was very visible. He was doing movies and TV and voiceovers and commercials and songwriting. With his biggest songs he wrote, like Joy of the World, I've Never Been to Spain, Both Three Dog Night, The Pusher, which was Steppenwolf, and then the No No song with Ringo Starr. Those were all big hits. And I'm sorry. And wait, sorry. What were we talking about?
Elton John gave a shout out.
Oh yes, Elton John thing. Yeah. So one really cool thing is that over the last couple of years, I've slowly been digging up stuff on my grandma, and obviously the importance of Heartbreak Hotel as a song, because that was one of the first rock and roll songs ever written. It wasn't even there wasn't intention behind that. It was just sort of the way that they had recorded it. It became like this very sparse, like dark thing, which wasn't really happening at the time, and so that became now known as like one of the first rock songs. And recently, we had Elton John get this Gershwin Award and mention that Heartbreak Hotel was the song that made him want to be a musician. That thing that really inspired him to do it. Paul McCartney said the same thing recently, and Keith Richards. I've dug this up all in the last year, and I was like, that's a Mount Rushmore of artists, and they all got inspired by something my grandma did in a small living room in Jacksonville, Florida in 1956. Right. And that's sort of the magic of art and music in general, that something can resonate like that and create these waves that change the course of musical history and history in general. Obviously the Beatles became a pretty good band. Yeah. And the Stones and Elton John. So
exactly.
I'm very proud to always be digging that stuff up, and it just continually amazes me.
Well, it's a great legacy, and I think you're doing great. I mean, we love having your songs. Thank you for coming in again.
Yeah, of course.
Really appreciate it. And, really hope you have a great time tonight at Herman's and finish this tour with on top. So you got Utah and then right back.
Yep, back home. And like I said, we'll be back as soon as we can. Let us know where we can come make some music with you guys, and we'll do it as soon as possible.
You got it. No problem. Thanks again, Matt Axton. We've been talking with Matt Axton here again. Herman's Hideaway tonight, 7 o'clock. You can find tickets at hermanshideaway.com. And, it's just been a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Pleasure's all mine. Joy to you.
Yeah, definitely. And just kind of a little shout out to your dad. So Never Been to Spain is actually one of my all-time favorite songs. I absolutely love it. And you said you, a lot of times you end on this song.
Yeah.
Just because it's a great song. It's an easy song. It's just...
and for years, truthfully, on all my bands, I would end with this one because it's so just simple and straightforward. It's such an iconic little melody. You can play it. It translates to every style. Right. And anytime I bring up guest artists, we just do it on this one. It's like C, D, and G. That's all you need. That's all the chords you need, friends. Now you're a musician. So it's been like a staple. Now, with bigger shows, we end with do a lot of Joy of the World, because there's no better song in the history of mankind to end with Joy of the World.
Definitely. I agree. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. This has been another great interview on K4CO Radio. Here's Never Been to Spain. And, yeah, you take care, Matt.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem.